Start with intense, cinematic narration. Have you ever felt the kind of betrayal that makes your stomach drop? The kind that changes you forever? Because the day I discovered my wife was lying to me, something inside me snapped. And what I did next didn't just end our marriage. It destroyed the man she cheated with. His career, his marriage, his family, all of it, gone. And the best part? I never even laid a finger on him. If you've ever wished you could serve karma on a silver platter to someone who betrayed you, hit that like button, subscribe, and get ready, because this is one of the most satisfying revenge stories you'll hear all year. This happened way back in the early 2000s, when AOL was still a thing, and when people still wrote passwords on sticky notes. My wife and I had been married for years. We had 2 little kids, 4 and 6 years old. Busy, messy, exhausting ages. The kind that turn your world upside down, but in a good way, or that's what I thought. At first, the signs didn't feel like signs. That's how betrayal works. It starts small, almost innocent. My kids started talking a bit too much about spending time at my in-laws' house. They lived 90 minutes away, not exactly a quick trip. Mommy took us to Grandma's again. That's twice this week. I think we're going tomorrow too. And that's when something cold settled in my chest, because my wife only worked part-time. And the days she didn't work were the days she was driving out there. Almost every single week. I asked her about it, and she denied it, with this shaky voice and jittery smile that practically screamed, "I'm hiding something." My gut told me the truth before my brain would accept it, so I started checking the mileage on her car. Just a quick glance here and there, and suddenly she was driving 400 extra miles a week. That number hit me like a brick to the chest. You don't accidentally drive 400 miles, not with 2 little kids in the back seat. That's when I knew something was happening behind my back. Then came the moment that turned suspicion into reality. One morning I woke up, sat at the computer, and there it was, a yellow sticky note, her handwriting, her AOL password. She might as well have engraved it on a silver platter and handed it to me. I stared at that sticky note for a whole minute, my heart thudding so loudly I could hear it in my ears. Then I typed in her password, hands shaking, mouth dry. Her inbox open, and I swear, my entire world froze. There were emails, long conversations between her and her college best friend, and they talked about how she had been regularly fucking one of her ex-boyfriends from high school. My stomach dropped. I could literally feel my pulse in the back of my throat. She talked about him like he was some prize. She mocked his wife, saying she got fat after pregnancy. She mentioned sneaking around with him on days she took the kids to Grandma's. I printed every email, every message, every line. I didn't confront her, not yet. I wanted the truth, all of it. And I wanted proof so solid that not even a lawyer could argue against it. A friend of mine was a cop. I told him everything, and he didn't even look surprised. He just took a deep breath and said, "Call Ron." Ron was a former police officer turned private investigator, best decision I ever made. I paid his retainer, handed him the emails, told him everything I knew. Ron looked at me with this calm, almost surgical expression and said, "Give me a week." He didn't need a week. Within a few days, he had a full report. And when I opened that envelope, it felt like someone drove a hot knife straight through my chest. Photos, dates, times, locations. She would take the kids to her parents, drive straight to a cheap, disgusting motel. Meet this man, let's call him Bob, for lunch. Then go inside that motel for hours, and afterwards she'd pick up my kids like nothing happened. Seeing those photos, seeing her with him, it was like watching someone else's life crumble. But that wasn't the end, because I needed to know who Bob was, and Ron delivered. Turns out Bob was married, with 3 kids. He worked as a VP of sales at a company owned by his father-in-law. His wife's family owned their house. His entire life, his job, his home, his stability, depended on her family. The irony, he was talking trash about his own wife, calling her lazy, annoying, clingy. Meanwhile, he was cheating on her with mine. I remember sitting there staring at Ron's report, feeling this wave of cold, controlled anger. Not rage, not panic, just clarity. This wasn't just cheating. This was betrayal layered with selfishness, arrogance, and stupidity. And both of them, my wife and Bob, thought they were untouchable. They had no idea how wrong they were. When the time was right, I had my lawyer prepare divorce papers. No yelling, no fighting, just clean, cold legal destruction. Then I asked Ron for one last favor. I wanted him to deliver copies of the photos and reports to Bob's wife. Not anonymously, not secretly. I wanted her to see the whole truth. Every motel, every lunch, every betrayal. And Ron did exactly that. The same day my wife was served with divorce papers at her workplace. Ron walked into Bob's house and handed everything to Bob's wife. She was devastated, but she deserved to know. And what she did next? Beautiful. She emptied their joint account, took the kids, packed her bags, and walked out of his life. Then she told her father. Her father fired Bob instantly. And since he owned the house they lived in, Bob was thrown out on the street. But the fallout didn't stop there. Bob tried to go back and fix things, but his brother-in-law stepped in. A fight broke out. Bob got his nose broken. There were restraining orders, police reports, court battles, criminal charges, jail time. His entire life crashed like a collapsing building, and I didn't have to lift a finger. Karma did the heavy lifting. I just handed her the tools. My wife and I eventually divorced. We kept things civil for the kids, but once they grew up, I cut ties completely. I don't hate her. I don't love her. She's just nothing to me now. A chapter of my past. Bob, he vanished, moved out of state. No job, no wife, no home, no online presence. His ex-wife thrived. She took over her father's company, raised her kids, built a life. As for me, I healed, slowly, quietly, because in the end, revenge isn't always loud. Sometimes it's silent. Sometimes it's patience. Sometimes it's letting people ruin themselves. All I did was give the truth a little push. So here's the part that still gives me satisfaction, even years later. 2 people tried to ruin my life. Instead, they ruined each other's. My ex lost her marriage. Bob lost everything. And I walked away with my dignity, my sanity, and eventually, my peace. They thought they were clever, sneaky, untouchable. But the truth always comes out. And when it does, it burns everything that stands in its way. Sometimes the greatest revenge isn't yelling or fighting or destroying someone yourself. It's exposing the truth and letting karma do the rest. In the end, people who betray you always lose more than you do, always. If this story gave you chills or satisfaction, smash that like button, subscribe, and tell me in the comments, what's the most satisfying revenge you've ever seen? And if you want more stories like this, you know what to do. New episodes every week. Thanks for watching. Stay sharp, stay kind, and remember,